After my corporate marriage to the ice-cold CEO, I accidentally gained access to his inner monologue. I was padding past the home office in cartoon pajamas. Inside, the CEO thought, quite the tactic. Me? Chase and I had been married 3 months and 7 days, and we'd exchanged fewer than 100 sentences. That's how corporate marriages work. 2 families extracting value, the bride and groom reduced to mascots on display. Chase is the heir to Sterling International, handsome and absurdly wealthy, a fixture on the covers of business magazines. I'm the overlooked second daughter of the Sterling family, shipped off by my father as a bargaining chip. Mrs. Sterling, Mr. Sterling says he won't be home for dinner tonight. Richard handed me a cup of hot tea, his tone apologetic. I nodded. I was used to these bulletins. Chase's workload is brutal. He eats at home maybe once a month. Our relationship is colder than 2 roommates splitting rent. At least roommates argue over utilities. We can't even be bothered to fight. Got it. Don't set a place for him. I took a sip of tea and gazed at the darkening skyline. Today marked 3 months, our anniversary, though I seemed to be the only one keeping count. At 9 I showered, slipped into a silk nightgown, and was reaching for a novel when my phone buzzed. It was Chase's assistant, Miles. Mrs. Sterling, Mr. Sterling's had too much to drink. Could you pick him up? We're at the Cloud Top Club. I blinked. Since the wedding, Chase had never let me near his social circle, let alone asked me to collect him. But Miles sounded frantic, so I agreed. Half an hour later, I pushed open the door of Cloud Top's VIP suite and drew a steadying breath. A wave of booze and cigar smoke hit me. 7 or 8 guys, his childhood trust fund crew, lounged around. Chase occupied the main sofa, jacket gone, silk tie askew, cheeks flushed. Yo, sis-in-law's here. Colton, perched beside him, shouted. Chase bet us you wouldn't show. We owes us $500 each. Chase lifted his gaze, foggy for a second, then crystal clear again. Why are you here? Still Arctic. Miles said you were wasted. I stepped closer and caught the whiskey breath rolling off him. Can you walk? He didn't answer, just stood, then swayed. I caught his arm on instinct. The muscle under my palm was steely. Chase towers over me by almost a head, and when he slumped I nearly buckled. Dude, that's low, hiding a wife this hot. Another guy jeered. Chase's eyes darkened. He swore under his breath. Let's go. He draped an arm across my shoulders and half carried me out of the suite. In the hallway, he insisted on walking unaided, keeping a careful gap between us. Only when the elevator doors sealed did he lean in, brow resting against my shoulder. Head hurts, he mumbled, voice small and raw. I massaged his temples on reflex. Why drink so much? They kept pouring. He slurred. Missed you. The last 2 words were almost inaudible. Probably my imagination. I glanced up to ask what he meant, but his eyes were shut, breathing steady. The elevator opened onto the underground garage. Miles was already waiting. In the back seat, Chase slept against my shoulder. Up close, his lashes are ridiculously long, his nose razor straight, lips pressed in a line. Even asleep, he screams, keep out. I was still staring when a delivery truck barreled from the side and Miles yanked the wheel. Crash! A split second of pain. Then I felt Chase crush me to his chest. When I surfaced again, white light stabbed my eyes. I blinked until the room sharpened. Lemon, you're awake. My mother's face hovered, eyes red-rimmed. Mom, what happened? Car crash. You've been out 2 days. She squeezed my hand. Just a mild concussion and some bruises. The doctor says 48 hours for observation, then discharge. I looked around. Where's Chase? He's fine, injuries were lighter. Discharged yesterday. Headquarters had an emergency, so She didn't finish. The door swung open. Chase strode in, suit immaculate, no sign he'd ever been hurt. He paused when he saw me awake, then resumed his default pace to the bed. How do you feel? Same boardroom tone. Okay. I dropped my gaze, habitual. Chase, Lemon just woke up. Sit and talk. I'll find the doctor. Mother tactfully withdrew, leaving us marooned in silence. He sat. We searched for words. Then, out of nowhere, I heard. Asterisk, wife's face is so pale. What do I do? Asterisk. My heart twisted, TT. Are those quack doctors any good? Should we transfer her to a private hospital? I jerked my head toward Chase. His lips were sealed, brows slightly pinched, but he definitely hadn't spoken. Why is she staring at me like that? Do I have something on my face? Is she uncomfortable? Should I call the doctor? The voice came again. I widened my eyes. This time I was certain the sound was coming from Chase, yet his mouth never moved. Could it be? I can hear his inner monologue? To test the absurd idea, I deliberately coughed twice. Want some water? Chase was on his feet at once, pouring with crisp efficiency. Oh God, wife coughed. Could it be internal bleeding? Damn that delivery truck driver. I'll bankrupt him. I accepted the glass, biting back laughter. This man, ice cold on the surface, is actually this lively inside? Morgan. I sipped and stole glances. Chase sat ramrod straight, gaze fixed on the far wall, every inch the untouchable CEO. Wife's lips look so pink when they're wet. I want to kiss, no, Chase, be a gentleman, but she looks so soft, so sweet. Pfft. I spat water everywhere. What's wrong? Too cold. He instantly offered tissues, face stern. Did I mess up the temperature? Will wife hate me now? Ah, my first time nursing someone and I screw it up. And no, I'm fine. I patted my mouth, reeling. The financial press calls him ruthless, but his inner script reads like a teenager in love. After the doctor cleared me for discharge tomorrow, Chase took a call. Headquarters needed him. Rest well. He paused at the door, tone flat as a board. I want to stay with wife, but that deal has to close today. I'll come back early and sleep with her. Sleep beside her. I hugged my aching ribs to hold in the giggles. Sure, go work. The second Chase left, I collapsed on the bed and rolled with laughter. A car crash had handed me a mind-reading superpower, and my perfectly polite husband's thoughts about me are anything but cold. Next evening, Chase was still at the office when I got home. Time to experiment. I slipped into a silk nightgown with a neckline cut just low enough, then drifted to the kitchen for a prop glass of water. Keys turned in the lock. I angled myself so the pendant light traced every curve. Chase stepped in and froze. Back already? I greeted, ultra casual. Yeah. He looked down while toeing off his shoes, voice husky. Holy hell, wife's trying to kill me with that outfit. Who could resist? Chill, Chase, don't pounce like a creep. But they're so. No, I mean the neckline is so. I almost dropped the glass and spun away to hide my grin. He strode over, draping his suit jacket across my shoulders. It's chilly, he stated deadpan. Must cover her. This view is for me alone. Tomorrow I'll have Richard crank the thermostat to 80. Let's see you walk around half-dressed then. Morgan. I tucked the jacket closer, breathing his faint cologne. Have you eaten? I did. He loosened his silk tie. I'm grabbing a shower. If I stay any longer, I'm done for. Why is wife suddenly lethal? Don't overthink it, you idiot. I shook with silent laughter as he fled. Teasing Chase is officially my favorite sport. The days that followed turned into a safari through his mind. In public he's Arctic, inside he's a giant, clingy golden retriever. At the annual gala, I wore a backless gown. While he networked with investors, his brain screamed, who picked this dress? Her whole back is on display. I'll blacklist that designer. Stop ogling, President Wong. I'll gouge those eyeballs out. I lingered beside a young tech client. Pure research. Chase materialized, hand-branding my waist. Back off, punk. That fake charm won't work on my wife. She smiled at him. Am I less attractive than this pretty boy? In the car afterward, he stayed mute. I casually asked, that Mr. Brown was interesting. He's in tech, right? His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Interesting? His hair looks electrocuted. Tech. I could build a rocket if I wanted. I faced the window, tears purling from suppressed laughter. At night we still kept to our separate bedrooms. Ever since the wedding we'd had separate bedrooms. But one midnight I got up for water, and as I passed Chase's room I heard a strange sound. Curiosity nudged me to ease the door open a crack. In the moonlight Chase lay on the bed, and in his hand was my silk scarf? Wife sent. I want to sleep holding wife. When will she finally let me into her room? I clapped a hand over my mouth and tiptoed back into the hallway. The next morning at breakfast I asked deliberately, I can't find my blue silk scarf. Have you seen it? Chase's coffee cup clattered against the saucer. I'm doomed, she found out. Death penalty. Will wife think I'm a pervert? But it really smells so good. And no, haven't seen it. He fought to stay calm, the tips of his ears blood red. I decided to stop teasing. Maybe I misremembered. Chase obviously exhaled in relief, bolted down the rest of his breakfast and left for work. Watching his stiff back, I felt a sweet flutter. This icy man actually likes me this much. Riley, my college best, came over. Chase had said he was heading to headquarters, but when he saw we had company, he stayed. Your husband is so hot, Sophie whispered. Just kind of frosty. How do you two even get along? I was about to answer when I caught Chase's inner monologue. Who is this woman, grabbing my wife's hand the second she arrives? And leaning in so close. Wife is mine. She actually called me cold. I'm not cold, wife, defend me. Chase is actually really gentle, I said, deliberately louder. Especially thoughtful, right, dear? Chase's hand shook as he poured tea, a few drops spilling. Wife called me dear and praised me as gentle. Is it New Year's already? Wait, why is she suddenly like this? Could it be? He shot me a suspicious look. I answered with the most innocent face I owned. Cameron, Chase blocked my path. Just now, did you? What's wrong? I blinked. Wife blinking is so cute. No focus, her attitude changed. Did she figure out I like her? Impossible, I've hidden it so well. Nothing. In the end, he asked nothing and turned upstairs to the home office. I decided to add fuel. That night, I changed into something silky and knocked on the home office door. Come in. I pushed the door open. He was reading a file. When he looked up and saw what I wore, his fountain pen snapped against the desk. Who could resist this? Is wife finally going to consummate with me tonight? Calm down, Chase. Maybe I'm reading too much. I made coffee, brought you a cup. I set it before him and bent just enough to show my neckline. His gaze slid downward before he yanked it back. Eyes on the paperwork, but it's so white. I mean, the coffee is so white. Damn, what am I thinking? Morgan, he said hoarsely, it's late, go rest. Hurry and leave, wife, or I'll lose control. Instead of leaving, I moved behind him and pretended to read the documents on his desk. What project is this? Chase went rigid. I was so close my hair brushed his shoulder. I could feel his breathing turn ragged. Wife's hair smells amazing. Her waist is so tiny, wanna hold her. No, endure it, Chase. Routine acquisition, he answered tightly. Lemon you. I leaned nearer. Chase suddenly stood, spun, and pinned me against the desk, palms braced on either side of me. Under the desk lamp, his eyes were black fire, his breath scorching. To hell with it. Today I get my answer. Does wife know I'm crazy about her? Lately. His Adam's apple bobbed. Why suddenly? Suddenly what? I blinked innocently, heart racing. This close, Chase's scent wrapped around me and made me dizzy. Suddenly so. He didn't finish. A knock cut through the door. Mr. Sterling, an urgent document needs your signature. It was Richard's voice. Chase squeezed his eyes shut, inhaled, and released me. Come in. Richard stepped inside, saw our positions, and his grizzled face reddened. No need. Chase was already ice cool again. Give me the file. Why the interruption now? One more second, and I'd have my answer. Wife's face is so red, adorable. I seized the moment to slip out and back to my room, finally able to breathe. Moments ago, Chase's eyes had looked ready to devour me, dangerous, magnetic. The next day was a Sunday. I'd arranged to meet Sophie for shopping and deliberately didn't tell Chase exactly where. Just before I stepped out, I heard him muttering inside. Where is wife heading? And with whom, guy or girl? Why won't she give me the address? Doesn't she love me anymore? I swallowed a laugh and brushed a quick kiss across his cheek. Don't worry, home before dinner. Chase stood frozen, the tips of his ears turning scarlet at lightning speed. Wife kissed me. Voluntarily. That's love, right? Absolutely love. I'm engraving this date so we can celebrate it every year. Inside the mall, Sophie and I were browsing racks when a chill skittered down my spine. I spun around. There he was, Chase, supposedly coincidentally, in the neighboring menswear boutique with a business associate. Isn't that your husband? Sophie exclaimed. Talk about a small world. I narrowed my eyes. Coincidence? Huh. The man had obviously tailed me. Chase feigned surprise and strolled over. Cool as you please. Fancy meeting you here. Not coincidence at all. I came on purpose. Wife looks too gorgeous to roam around unguarded. I must provide close protection. I looped my arm through Sophie's and smiled sweetly. Yeah, crazy coincidence. We're grabbing coffee, care to join? His gaze fixed on my linked arm, his eyes darkening. Linking arms again. Why does this woman keep touching my wife? Wait, if I join them, I'll get extra minutes with wife. Sure, he said, nodding to his companion. Jamie, let's reschedule. In the cafe, the moment Sophie left for the restroom, Chase slid into the seat beside me. Tired? He asked it casually, but his hand stole around my waist under the table. Wife's waist is so tiny. I want to stroll the mall with my arm around her. No, focus. Why does she let that woman link arms and not me? Am I less desirable than a girl? I bit back laughter and leaned against his shoulder. A bit. He went rigid, then gingerly shifted so I could settle more comfortably. Wife took the initiative to lean on me. What auspicious day is this? I'm buying this cafe to commemorate it. Chase. I lifted my head. Are you super into me? His expression froze, ears blazing. Found out. When? How? I was so careful. Wait, could it be? He caught my teasing grin and the penny dropped. You can hear what I'm thinking. Started right after the car crash. I grinned. On the surface it's all okay. Fine, but inside its wife is adorable, and I want kisses and cuddles. Chase turned crimson, shot to his feet. I'm heading to the restroom. Watching him flee, I doubled over laughing. Teasing Chase was addictive. That night he avoided me all evening, only mustering courage at bedtime. So, you heard everything. He hovered in the doorway like a scolded kid. I sat on the bed and nodded, including the part about bending me over your desk. Chase covered his face with a groan. I'm doomed. I patted the mattress. Come here. He hesitated, then eased onto the bed, eyes averted. Chase. I cupped his face. I like you too. His eyes ignited like twin stars. Really? Really? I moved closer. Who else would put up with that non-stop inner monologue? Chase finally smiled, the happiest I'd ever seen him. He gathered me gently like I was treasure. Wife said she likes me. Life mission accomplished. I can still hear you, I reminded. He silenced me with a kiss, giving me no breath left to eavesdrop. After that, Chase quit hiding his jealous streak. At the headquarters gala, when some clueless client draped an arm around my shoulder, Chase yanked me to his side and announced before the entire room, "My wife dislikes being touched." In private, he turned clingy, perpetual wife a kiss, wife a hug, the polar opposite of his frosty public persona. One morning I woke to his kisses and mumbled, "Chase, why were you so cold to me at first?" He nuzzled my neck sheepishly. "I was scared you didn't like me arranged marriage. You might have felt forced." "Dummy." I ruffled his hair. "I fell for you the first second I saw you." His eyes lit up, he pinned me down. "Then let's make up for all that lost time." "Wait, I have to get to work." Protest ignored. Looks like my mind-reading gift brought me not only Chase's heart, but also the sweet, exhausting bonus of a perpetually aching back. And, from Chase's point of view, the first time I saw Lemon, it was at the Sterling Group's annual gala. She wore a pale blue cocktail dress, standing quietly in the corner while she nibbled a petit four, a smear of cream still clinging to the corner of her lips. Unlike every other socialite busy out glitzing the rest, she felt like a glacial spring, impossible to look away from. I had just commandeered Sterling Holdings when my father pointed at the Sterling family's second daughter and declared, "That will be your future wife." I should have refused this corporate marriage outright, yet watching her pink tongue swipe away that speck of cream, I nodded like a man hypnotized. On our wedding day, Lemon in her white wedding gown was heart-stopping, except her eyes were hollow, like a porcelain doll's. I knew she didn't want the match. The Sterlings had been sliding downhill for years. To her this union was nothing but a transaction. So I resolved to give her room. Separate bedrooms, minimal talk, no public affection. That way, when she inevitably fell for someone else, she could leave with her head high. I overestimated my self-control. Each dawn I watched her shuffle downstairs half awake, hair wild, and my arms ached to gather her up and ruffle her even further. Every night she drifted through the penthouse in her silk nightgown, pale calves glowing beneath the hem. I felt my knees go weak with the urge to kiss every inch of exposed skin. But I couldn't, so I'd scowl out a frosty morning, then bolt before an extra heartbeat betrayed me. The day of the car crash was the most terrified I've ever been. Seeing that delivery truck barrel toward us, the only thing I could do was throw myself over her. Showering glass sliced my back to ribbons, but beside the possibility of losing her the pain was a footnote. In the private hospital suite the doctor pronounced a mild concussion, yet I kept vigil for 2 solid nights. When her lashes finally fluttered open, I almost dropped to the linoleum in gratitude. "Chase!" Her very first words stalled my heart mid-beat. The only defense I had was to pretend I'd just arrived from a board meeting, voice calm as still water. "How do you feel?" Then something impossible happened. Lemon stared at me as though I'd shouted some confession, though I was certain not a syllable had passed my lips, unless she'd somehow caught the sentence drumming inside my head. "Wife looks so pale it's killing me." Ridiculous. Mind reading belongs in paperback fantasy, not Riverdale. But the following days her behavior veered toward the surreal. She began gliding into my line of sight in lingerie that left nothing to imagination, leaning over so her neckline offered an invitation I could barely refuse. Worse, she suddenly turned affectionate, calling me honey, brushing kisses across my cheek. I was losing my mind. Each night I tortured myself. Is she finally starting to feel something, or am I imagining it? The torment grew so acute I'd steal the silk scarf she'd left on the armrest just to breathe in her scent. That blue scarf carried a whisper of jasmine, the same note that had drifted from her on our wedding day when she walked past me in a perfumed breeze. The incident in the home office was my closest brush with collapse. She padded in wearing a silk nightgown cut so low my pulse thundered, her hair brushing my jaw like a dare. I could practically hear the cable of my restraint snap. "What project is this?" she cooed, feigning interest in the paperwork while her body leaned flush against my arm. I shot to my feet, pinned her against the desk, ready to demand once and for all. "Are you toying with me, or do you feel even one flicker of what I feel?" Richard's knock, damn his impeccable timing, saved Lemon, and spared me. Had I kissed her then and she pushed me away, I don't know how I'd have faced morning coffee again. Discovering she could pluck every mortifying thought from my skull made me want to melt into the floor. All those shameful inner monologues, those predator fantasies, those muttered lunatic devotionals, heard, catalogued, replayed. Yet when she said, "I like you too," every last fleck of embarrassment combusted into raw euphoria. My carefully banked affection, every spark I'd tried to smother, had been in plain sight all along. Now, finally, I can be the clinger I always wanted to be. Wife kiss. Wife hug. Wife, can we share the same bed tonight? She'll roll her eyes, "You're so needy," while granting every shameless request. Sometimes she teases, "Mr. Sterling, your brand is crumbling. Where's the Stone Cold CEO now?" "Brand? I have a wife. By the way, that client who dared drape an arm over her shoulder at the gala? I arranged his corporate bankruptcy within the quarter." Lemon calls it overkill. I call it basic perimeter defense. My wife is not public property, not even for sightseeing. These days I wake with Lemon in my arms, reality feeling softer than a dream. Half drowsy, she'll mumble, "Chase, stop thinking so loud. You're giving me insomnia." I answer by covering her mouth with mine, letting my body speak the words she's already heard in my head. After all, some affection doesn't need an inner monologue to be understood. Thank you for listening to our tale. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate tonight's story? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.